Hi, how are you? So often I hear that fibromyalgia patients state that they can't exercise. Well, there's a reason for that. But even websites about fibromyalgia share how important exercise is to our well-being. Aerobic exercises like running, jogging, golf, and tennis are stated to help us. Has anyone with fibro been able to hike or perform tennis long term? I'd love to hear from you. When we went to the Grand Canyon, we did a lot of walking. Thankfully, there were places along the way to sit. Otherwise, I would have ended up in the car. We know that studies have found a low-grade baseline of chronic inflammation in people with fibromyalgia. So what do we do? That's what I'd like to talk about today. I think this is a topic that tends to heat us up. But hang in there with me. I'll do my best to explain how complicated and misunderstood this topic is. And I'll begin with a study by the NIH that explains exercise this way. Exercise is defined as planned, structured, and repetitive bodily movement that is performed to improve or maintain one or more component of physical fitness. And in my study on fibromyalgia, I wrote, studies have shown that elevated circulating cytokine levels in fibromyalgia have plasma levels of several cytokines elevated. This supports the hypothesis that chronic low-grade systemic inflammation may underlie its pathophysiology. I continue. Also, exercise does not improve cytokine levels. However, when pain is not severe, individuals with fibromyalgia should remain active and choose an exercise program that does not increase pain to improve muscle strength. However, many of the patients with chronic pain experience real fear and worry that performing physical activity and exercise will cause more harm. Well, with that said, exercise intolerance is real. We experience a worsening of pain, fatigue, and stiffness after exertion. So let me give you some background before I explain the following studies. Cytokines regulate host responses to infection, immune responses, inflammation, and trauma. Some cytokines make diseases worse, and those are called pro-inflammatory. Other cytokines reduce inflammation and promote healing. Those are called anti-inflammatory. In January of 2022, a study by Sarmento et al. Found that there is a blunted anti-inflammatory response in people with fibro compared to healthy individuals after an exercise routine. The exacerbated symptoms after a moderate to high intensity exercise program may be partially due to a blunted anti-inflammatory response. That means that an expected number of anti-inflammatory cytokines that result in healthy individuals after a moderate to high intensity exercise program aren't adequately generated in the same way with people who have fibromyalgia. Our anti-inflammatory response to exercise results in a worsening of symptoms after exercise. Also, this study and those in the past found that pro-inflammatory cytokine levels are not mediated by exercise. So exercise doesn't give us more inflammatory effects. In 2014, a similar study also found the same or similar thing, and Tesla's joining us. So those researchers also found that exercise doesn't increase our pro-inflammatory cytokines. But we don't get the anti-inflammatory response that healthy people get when they exercise. We aren't getting the healing of our muscles after exercise in the same way as healthy individuals. I mean, everyone who exercises gets a short-term amount of extra pain from stretching their muscles. So that part's normal. My understanding of blunted is that it's not that it's non-existent. It fails to reach the expected anti-inflammatory cytokine levels after exercise. And he's out. And because of this, we get a worsening of symptoms. Not a permanent worsening, just a worsening for a time. Another study in 2018 found no effects on the anti-inflammatory cytokine levels in fibromyalgia patients with 15 weeks of resistance exercise. So exercise doesn't help to moderate our cytokine levels, is what they state. Resistance exercises are those that work against a weight or force. These are weight machines that use weights or hydraulics, like an elliptical. The use of free weights like dumbbells or barbells. Resistance bands that you use to stretch, like this. Your physical therapist can provide you with some of these. I've collected quite a few over the years. I put them somewhere in my closet, so I need to clean that out. Or using your own body weight, like doing squats or push-ups, or suspension equipment like this video. So pretty much any type of exercise that we might want to do. So what do we do then? If you're in a flare, don't exercise. But stretching exercises are always beneficial. Do them while lying in bed or sitting in a chair. Stretch those muscles every day. The NIH states that short bouts of self-selected physical activity show promise as a first step in building exercise programs for sedentary individuals. For me, self-selected is the key to my feelings of autonomy. Short bouts of exercise would be like doing fewer reps of a routine. For example, instead of doing 20 or 50 reps of leg lifts, do 5. On my elliptical, I can get to 5 minutes on the lowest setting. Compare that to my husband, who can work out for 20, 30 minutes on a much higher setting. I mean, if you can do that, go for it. But I think that the consensus for most of us with fibromyalgia, less is better long-term, and less is better than none. Range of motion exercises are what I need most to loosen up my stiff muscles. They are important for me to do daily. physical activities for me might include housework and light gardening, a little walking. Why? Because heart disease is a result of not getting enough physical exercise. I also like aerobics with videos and music, and I think the happy, excited people who lead those exercises make it fun. That's what I like. You can find what you like. But I'll tell you, I can only handle about 10 minutes on a good day. And I might only do that once a week, and it could be 2 weeks. So the key is to find your happy place and the right amount of exercise for you. It won't make you feel terrible for weeks to come. So I hope you learned something. I hope this all made sense to you. I send you gentle hugs and support. Love you. When we went to the Grand Gam, so exercise, we exercised that meeting. So I